Hey, what is up everyone? We have to talk about patch 1.09.1. It's just been a weird one, hasn't it? If you have watched my previous video, then you know about the 3 issues that they fixed within this patch, including this one right here, which has to do with the jellyfish shield. And of course, they have fixed the spells, now you can properly buff them. What's bad is that in the recent patch, of course, 1.09.1, they've completely messed up again. From Software, by all means, does a great job. It's just as of recent, they've had a little bit of a hiccup. Maybe it's because they have their focus on the DLC. Let's continue on with talking about the incantations because it's not just bugged for catch flame, guys. What I'll be showing throughout the video is a few examples. This first one's going to be Swarm of Flies. Here's the damage, and okay, we got something, right? What we're going to do now is then combine this with Contagious Fury, plus the good old Swarm of Flies. If we then cast down the spell, you're going to see that no damage is going to be inflicted upon this fella here. Now, if you use this against an enemy that has some sort of blood loss, then yeah, it's going to take that away, but it's not going to inflict any damage, and it's just kind of odd. Continuing on towards the next example, I'm going to show you Catch Flame. We already know that it does do damage, right? And I've shown in the past that it's currently bugged. Now, I just want to show this again for purposes, okay? Because I know for a lot of you, you may not even know about this. So, even if you use O-Flame 2, which is the next one up, you're going to see that no damage is going to be applied either. It's kind of odd, and I think what's going on is the same issue that went on with the spells. And if that is the case, I'm surprised that they did not catch this one. The next example that I'm going to show you is the Flame of Frenzy. Right here, we are able to inflict damage, and eventually we will be able to stun the boss so that he then is knocked over. What you will notice in this next clip is going to be quite the opposite. If we then combine this with the same exact shield, with the same exact skill, you will see that no damage is going to be applied to this dude. And yeah, it's annoying, but what's interesting about this is it does stun him or knocks him over. It's wild, but it does work. If we then use this with Frenzy Burst, it does the same exact thing, but we're able to see that right now this is without the shield, and we're applying damage right away. And of course, this time you guys can guess what's going to happen here, is that if we then apply the same exact buff towards Frenzy Burst, it does absolutely nothing. Now here's the next one. This is going to be a shocker for some of you. This is not the only item that is now currently bugged, because if you look right here, Commander Standard's Rally does nothing. Absolutely does nothing, zilch, when it comes to damage, and you apply this towards an incantation. It's the same exact issue. If I had any idea, I'd say this has to do with pretty much any skill that's going to be applied towards your incantation. It just won't work. Now, with all the issues, you might be wondering what works in patch 1.09.1. Well, if you use the Contagious Fury with Inescapable Frenzy, it does apply damage. This, of course, is without it. Now, if we apply the buff, and then if we go up towards an enemy and use the same exact incantation on him, you can tell right away that it does apply damage. It's kind of odd that it does correctly apply the damage to this specific incantation, but if it's anything else like the other frenzies, you're absolutely not going to be able to use it. So I'm sure the next question comes to mind, when can we expect a hotfix? That is if it is a hotfix. It could possibly be another update, but I'm going to lean more towards a hotfix. If we check recently, March 23rd was when we received update 1.09, and then it took them about 3 weeks and a half for them to then release the hotfix on April 18th. Of course, that is quite a stretch for us to receive another hotfix, especially something that is affecting incantations now and not just spells. Now, we can assume that it took that long because of RTX and they had to make sure that everything was properly set. I'm sure that's probably why it took as long as it did. And if it's anything else, then maybe, just maybe, it will take that long for us to receive this next update. And if it is, that's a huge bummer, and I'm sure a lot of you are not too happy about this because it definitely does mess with a lot of your builds. One thing I would like to throw in that might be important to some of you because you might be experiencing this issue as well. In the recent video, I had a fella named John come by and comment that steaks are not working, specifically not just a beautiful steak that you eat. What I'm talking about is those statues that are called Steaks of America. If you take a look right here, he says that these are pretty much not working 90% of the time. I've yet to experience the issue, but maybe it's affecting consoles. I am, of course, on PC. It might just be the case, and if that is, you might want to report that one so that From Software can fix that. And last but not least, I want to give my final thoughts about this patch. It has done quite a lot of good for us, such as allowing mage builds to increase their damage even more, and applying just better RTX settings, right? And what's great is things are optimized better. The only issue really is that there are some things I believe should have been inspected a little bit better. Of course, incantations is number one. It's some of the issues that have been going around in the past, and I know some of you might be surprised about this, but yeah, people still do AFK farming. It's quite ridiculous because you guys are correct out there. I've seen it in my recent comments or my recent videos where you're like, yeah, why AFK? You can absolutely grab a crap ton more XP at somewhere like Dynasty Mausoleum or possibly even the Ordina. You know, you could jump off the map there if you wanted to glitch it. But overall, it's just people are still currently doing this, and some of the spots do work. Specifically over at Bellum Highway, there is a Lost Grace there as well as a sill. So what players have done for the last year or so is that they've hopped on top of the rock with their mount, and then they'll traverse around it by just simply jumping on the ledge, going around, and then jumping through the back. And then what players will do is then activate a lure, so you guys out there are then triggered to then invade them. They'll hide behind there. Most likely a hunter will come by, paddle it out with you, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose, and they gather some runes out of it. One of the questions I am asked the most in my videos, if it has something to do with glitches, is that some ask, is it bannable? No, it does not break TOS. If you're cheating or using hacks, that will ban you, absolutely. And to be quite specific here, I mean cheating and hacking kind of go hand in hand, and you're using a totally other way to cheat. So yeah, kind of just to go back to the original question that I placed there for everybody, is that yeah, I do think that this patch has done some good. It's been terrible for the most part because incantations are still bugged, and some things could be looked at, like some people that are using AFK spots, right? That can be quite annoying, and it is something that is going on right now. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, give the video a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Or maybe you're coming back again for the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th time. If so, click subscribe, make an account or something, subscribe, click the notification bell, and make sure it's notified for all when you do subscribe. And again, if you have any questions, like I always ask in the video, is leave it down below. I will try to reply back. Other than that, thank you all for being subscribed, and I'll see you all in the next video.